Well, we've been listening to this virtual meeting that has been underway since early this morning, and those NTSB investigators have been highly critical of the pilot, Ara Zobayan, saying that he violated federal standards, there were basic safety standards, and that the pilot became disoriented. Those are the findings over a year after the crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others here in Calabasas. Specifically, they said that the pilot, before they left Orange County on the morning of January 26, 2020, knew that the weather conditions were bad, that there was a low cloud ceiling, and that it may have been too dangerous to fly, and still took off from John Wayne Airport that morning, and then made some other decisions, that there was no other plans in place to divert that flight elsewhere, that the flight could have gone along, let's say, the 118 and not the 101 when there was a low marine layer here that was too dangerous. And then finally, when the pilot approached the Calabasas area and was surrounded by fog, going by what they call visual flight rules, meaning he's basically looking out the window trying to determine if there were dangers around them, when the pilot could not see, instead of looking at the instruments and going by his training, was still going by visual flight rules, was climbing, thought he was climbing upwards and ascending in altitude, and instead went downward and went into this rapid descent into the hillsides. Here's more of what those investigators had to say this morning.
As long as we continue to have VFR-only helicopters continuing to flirt with marginal weather and sometimes submarginal weather, low altitudes, low ceilings, limited visibility, unfortunately, a certain percentage of them will stray into inadvertent IMC, and unfortunately, a certain percentage of them will not come out alive.
So all the talk this morning, Michaela, seems to bolster the preliminary findings over the summer that talked about spatial disorientation, that the pilot, when finally surrounded by all of the fog, didn't know which way was up, which way was down, and then rapidly descended toward the mountains. There has been no talk this morning during the meeting of any sort of mechanical failure, of any sort of engine failure. All of the criticism seems to be directed at the pilot.